Tonight on Chronicle, they're captains of their very own vessels, from sailboats to canoes, where teens learn to build their own boats.
This is the third day. The canoes go along fairly fast. They're fairly simple to build, and consequently, we'll be probably putting fiberglass along the edges of the bottoms by tomorrow.
Tonight, you haven't truly enjoyed one of New Hampshire's lakes or ponds unless you've actually experienced it from a boat. Whether you like to drop in a fishing line or just drift in the wind, and your voyage can be even nicer if it is your own boat.
How about taking that a step further? Experiencing it in a boat you made. Well, that's the idea behind classes offered by the New Hampshire Boat Museum in Wolfeboro.
Now, whether it's a sailboat or a skiff, a kayak or a canoe, whether you're man, woman, or teenager, Jennifer Crompton paddled on up the Lake Wentworth and found that they've got a class for you.
On most any summer weekday, youngsters learn to sail and even race sailboats on Lake Wentworth, courtesy of the town of Wolfeboro and their boat museum partners nearby. Volunteers from the New Hampshire Boat Museum actually made the boats they teach with. Their colorful wooden beginnings, inspiration for classes both on and off the water.
Well, it started in the year 2002, soon after the museum opened. We had half a dozen volunteers interested in building a Opti sailboat, which is a small 8-foot pram, Optimist. And we built 4 or 5 of those that summer, and that kicked off our community sailing program. And thereafter, we expanded the program to include canoes. At the suggestion of one of the instructors, we started kayaks, the Bevan skiff, the rowboat, we put that in there. Most recently, the Passage Maker is a large 12-foot all-around boat, sailing boat, sailboat, so forth.
From June till September, boat building lessons go on under tents just beside the Boat Museum.
I'm actually in charge of 3 classes. One would be the women's kayak class, which is sandwiched between the 2 youth classes.
Another instructor teaches the other summer classes, both of them helped by adult volunteers who work alongside kids. David can relate to how these kids feel. He started building boats when he was 12.
The youth classes that I'm involved in are both 10-day classes. They run about a 6-hour day. It starts at 9 in the morning and it'll go to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Day 1, they get oriented to the tools. By day 2, boats are already taking shape. Most of the kids in this session are building canoes.
This is the 3rd day. The canoes go along fairly fast. They're fairly simple to build, and consequently, we'll be probably putting fiberglass along the edges of the bottoms by tomorrow.
Dakota was a scholarship student the summer before. The canoe he built, his pride and joy.
Named it Speed Machine. Yeah. Paddle pretty fast, you know, with the double-sided paddles that we have. Well, that they let you make and everything.
This summer he was back as a volunteer, helping other teenagers enjoy that same experience, including his 13-year-old sister, Savannah.
She's got it all fed. You can see that it's been planed off so that it's flat. The bottom is going to be able to be applied. And all she's got to do is apply the glue at this point. She's already fit the bottom. It's down there. And with the 2 nails, 1 in each end, it'll set right down on and it'll fit it perfectly. This boat here canoe is a little bit further along than Savannah's was. It has a bottom on it, and he's also done a little bit of filling where we use an epoxy that's been thickened to the consistency of peanut butter.
The kits are all made from authorized plans we've purchased from various companies. We build the kits in the winter, plywood, frames and so forth, all the rails, mahogany plywood, yes. Have them all prepared so when you come, it's an assembly process. That's what we teach with our volunteers.
I like wooden boats, and I like working with kids, and it's a wonderful opportunity for them to come up with a project. to do a project from beginning to end.
Okay, this is our skiff. This is a little ruggeder boat than the canoes, a little heavier.
A little more complicated?
Yes, and it's thicker. They're running 1/4 inch. This is running about 3/8. We had a lady that built one of these. She was over 50, and she and a friend of hers built it, and they got so interested in building it that their husbands had a couple of chairs that they sat right along beside and watched them because the girls wouldn't let them use a tool on their boat.
The women's class comes into play with about 8 or 10 women, strictly women for kayaks. We have a family session that can take families and young kids, and they can build any kind of a boat. And then we have an adult session we plan next summer that encompasses everybody who doesn't fit the other sessions.
Students of all ages start with pieces cut from a single sheet of mahogany plywood and end up with something akin to wooden art that floats.
We're under the price of the kit, and then we supply the expert instruction to assemble them, to paint them, finish them, supply all the paints, and they're in the water by the time you leave.
It takes a lot of time. That's maybe one of the most difficult things to convey to the kids at 12, 13, or 14 years old, that their boat was built in 3 days, but it won't really be complete for probably 8 days or 9. And as it goes on, the last day, of course, we don't do any painting because the kids actually put the boats in the water. And what we do on the last day would be to put on the plaques, which the kids have picked out the names of their boats. They're put on a mahogany plaque, fancy scroll. They're beautiful to put on, and they are epoxied right up on the side of the boat. So it's held in and affixed to the boat, and there's also a museum tag, a red one that's also put on the boat that states that it was built by John Jones and through the Wolfboro Museum and the year it was done and so forth.
No matter the age of the student or the boat they created, the best day of the class is launch day.
And there the kids having probably already worn bathing suits under their clothes and making sure that they had a life preserver will go out and try out their boats.
Summer tends to leave lots of memories in its wake. In this case, they're memories to build upon.